Okay, I went and got one of my little mats, just because I didn't want to get things stuck to my wooden table. And I'm inking the back side of the card that I put the book page on. Alright, now, since I didn't think about this before I glued the front to the back of the cover, I do really want this to be a neat little flip out, but I don't want to interfere with a bunch of this stuff, so that's why I'm not going to use one of these as a folding hinge, because I want as minimal amount of stuff covered up on here as possible. So I'm going to dig into my panda, pop his head off, and see. These are just my little tiny lace trims, little bits and pieces. So I'm going to go through here and see if there's anything that I think matches but is also sheer enough, and like this is really thick. I don't want it to be so thick, and though that might make a really neat pocket because you can still see through it. Okay dokie. Because if we put glue along here and glue along here and glue up the side and glue up that side, I'm really leaning towards this. It'd be cute as an accent thing. Okay, let's stuff him back up so that he's nice and full and has a happy tummy. Oh, that's kind of neat. Might use that as a little pull section, but it's also neat. We'll leave those ones out for now. Okay, and we'll stick your head back on, little Mr. Panda. Oop, screw your head on. There we go. Happy Panda! Okay, I think I do like this as a pocket, but I'm going to make it so that it's here and kind of hangs down a little bit, so it's like a pocket tuck place. And I like this one because it has the kind of ruffle edge on the bottom that will stick very well to that, and then it has this top section that I think will stick very well to this, and the little tiny pieces in between will act as the hinge part. So let's put this pocket on first. Okay, make sure you know where your pocket's going. Okay, and I like that like that. And I do like it to stick out a little bit because to me it adds extra texture. And I believe it also helps anchor it to what's underneath it. Sometimes you don't need that, and lots of times I don't do that, but this time I think it's the case. Okay, so we'll do that, and then let me get my fabric glue. All right, so I like this because it's not as difficult for the laces, because that tends to be shiny, and when you rub it, a lot of times the glue boogers get stuck, and it can move, and if you have vintage or even antique laces, sometimes it can tear the laces or the paper. So I really like this one because it dries very clear and it holds very well. So I just sort of dab it on. And you can move it around with your finger or the nozzle, either one. But I kind of like it to be a little bit raised so that it can go into the sides of the fabric. And then I'm just kind of getting the bottom where I want it to be, and then I'm just laying it on it and very lightly patting the lace to get the glue up and around the fibers, and it helps to seat the fabric and lace where you want it to be. And I'm just going to let that dry. You can see right now what it looks like, and if you want you can press it in a little more with your fingernail or tweezers. Tweezers work really well for this part. And if you feel like you've got too much, you can just take a piece of take a piece of another piece of paper, or use your finger and just kind of lay it on there and gently lift up, and you'll get whatever you feel like is excess off. And it also helps to seat the laces into the glue. Okay, and then we'll let that dry. And I really did add a little more than I normally do, but because you're going to grab this section usually, or right about here, to flip it up. Ooh, look how pretty that looks. I like that so much. I added a little extra for stability. So while that's drying, we can actually go ahead and do this part. Ooh, I like that ratty part there. That would be good for something. Let's see, let's go to this side. Yeah. Okay, and this is the front. So we're actually going to go like this. Now this one I am going to make pretty even with the card. So I'm just going to go a tiny bit over and then snip it off. But it's the same. I have a bubble. It's the same technique. I know we're not dry yet, but I have some things to do before finishing the folio up with decorations. So I'm just going to attach this and then set it aside open to let it dry. So we'll figure out where we want it, and roughly about there. And here I just I put a nice bead along the edge, and then this sort of squiggle it about. And then put it down and then drag it to the edge. Remember to leave a tiny gap so that it can fold. And then press down. And then you can just kind of dap the rest of the glue off. And here I'm just using the back of my fingernails to smooth the lace down and help to go into the glue. And if your glue gets gunky, you can always, lovely enough, I don't have one at hand, but you can always take a white eraser, oh shoot, and erase it off. Don't do what I just did with my finger and rub. I was trying to mimic the eraser and I accidentally pressed really hard. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to cover it up with one of these beautiful pieces of ephemera, like this little ticket, not too big, maybe this little beautiful bird. Well, that's kind of neat. That doesn't look bad. Or here's a pretty, oh, that's beautiful. I like the flower. And here's a little tiny number 1. You can put that there. That's very not obtrusive, but still design friendly. You can tear this part off and put that there. That's not bad. I am indecisive, so I'm going to let it dry and then do things when I'm designing stuff. Okay, so let's let that aside. See, this is all the stuff that you get when it's not planned out. And I kind of like doing this for you guys because then you can see everybody makes mistakes, and then if you make the same mistake that I did, hopefully I can give you a nice alternative on how to fix it or cover it up. Okay, while that is drying, you've got these 2 triangle pieces that have a score line in between, in the middle of them. And this one is actually going to fold in on itself. And this one is going to fold outwards, so that you end up with it like this. Now on this one, and you do need a paper clip for this. You don't have to put a paper clip in the middle of it, but it's a nice closure for the actual folio. You don't have to use it as the closure. It can be a bookmark. You can simply put this on the inside like so, and then close it up and have this top part adhered shut, and then you can just slip it over the top part of a page for your closure, or for your bookmark, and that be it. But she did do this as a hidden paper clip element. So I am going to do it that way. Now what you want to do first, and this might sound incorrect, but it is not. You want it to look like this, with the little notched corner piece at the bottom and at the top. So you want your score line going vertically, and you want to put a line of glue, or you know, whatever tiny tape adhesive, whatever you like to use, across one side of one of the triangles that make up the large triangle. And then you're going to fold it this way. So now the hinge is on the side, and then the glued piece, the glued edge, is on the top. So you're going to glue it, and she's gone and made the inside of this decorative as well. So when you look into it, it's not just glaringly white or plain. And of course you could, you know, just keep it as it is and use it as a tuck place or a flip thing for a secret message or what have you. And you could always not glue the sides and put your paper clip on the hinge side and have it go in this, have it go in like this on your page on the side. It's totally up to you. This is just the way that she's designed it. So we're going to make sure that is nice and dry and stuck firmly together, okay? And then when you take your paper clip, you drop it. Anyway, I like to give a little bit of a push on the middle of the paper clip. So that if you have a lot of things, it's going to go over rather easily. It'll still hold, you know, a singular piece very well, but it will slide off and on a little bit easier for you. Okay, so we've got our hinge side here, the part we just glued together at the top. And I'm just trying to get all my glue out here. Okay, and then you have the little opening part at the bottom. So you're going to take your paper clip and slide it over the part you just glued together. You can put yours roughly in the middle. I like mine a little slightly towards the edge. Okay, and then you're going to take your glue and go all over this entire piece, up to the edges, all on the inside, in and around and over top of the paper clip. And make sure your paper clip is seated firmly up against that piece of paper. Then you're going to take your outer piece and butt the two hinge sides together and drop your paper clip. Okay, and then the inside piece is slightly shorter than the outside piece, so you want to line up the bottom edges together, and you'll have this itty bitty little overhang here, and that's to help hide the top of your paper clip. And then just kind of wrap that around, make sure that it's not too far away or too close into the hinge part. I should say your fold line. Okay, and then make sure that your bottoms line up. So right now you're going to have what looks like this. And here is the opening of the interior part. Okay, if you want to, you can put something in there to make it easier for you to hold and to make sure that you don't accidentally glue the opening shut. Okay, and then you're just going to put glue all over the other side of the part holding the paper clip. Make sure to get over top and around all over that paper clip. And then just fold that over and seal it in. Now my paper clip is very thick because I could not find a metal one. So I have to make sure that I really press on the edges there, and my top's going to be exposed. Because my paper clip is very thick. Now, again, if all you have is a thick paper clip, you can just snip off the interior triangle part about a 1/16, I would say no more than 1/8 of an inch, and then the top of your clip will seat entirely inside of there. It does with a metal paper clip, but I don't have one of those, so yeah. And then just make sure this dries thoroughly, and there's that. Now the next thing I'm going to use are the tabbed file folders, and if you notice, I have not glued them together yet. I did ink and score them, and what I will show you what I'm going to do is, it's the next day. This is all nice and dry now, but there's the cover so far, and I'm using the hidden paper clip as the folio closure instead of a page accent or a bookmark. I think that's really cool, and because I didn't want to cover her up with some kind of even like, you know, a tie or some sort of closure, so I did that. But here's the pocket, front pocket, and then there's that. There's a pocket, and that now flips up, the little tuck pocket there. I think that's really neat looking. Okay, so there's that. I'll put that over there. What I want to do with these is I want to stitch them into the spine. So what I'm going to do is hopefully make some holes, make them correctly, and stack them up so that they fit. Like something like this. Try to make them a little more even when I put them in there, but something like that. And then once they are sewn in, then we shall glue them closed. I like how there's the two butterflies are facing each other, and then the flower and the bird are alternating. And then, oh, let's see, maybe I'll do it that way. Or since I have that butterfly there, do we want to put the bird in front? Well, that's pretty. Or should we have one of the fairies in front? This fairy? Oh, that's neat. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, huh? Okay. So, yeah, fairy, butterfly, bird, dragonfly, fairy, dragonfly, butterfly, flower. Shimmy, shimmy. That didn't make any sense, but okay. I definitely want this one here because I like that, and this is like, yeah. I don't know, something, I like the bird in the front though. And then it goes dragonfly, butterfly, dragonfly, butterfly. I like that. And then the fairies can be like tucked inside. I think that'll be cool. Like that. Okay. Yay! Choices! Okay, so we're gonna set that aside for now. And I'm going to get my pokey mat out, and a pokey tool, and a pokey ruler. It's actually a centering ruler. I love this thing. I would be highly annoyed without it. Okay, so we are going to, I'm just going to do 2 holes in here. Now, you could, obviously, you could put one here, you could put one here, you could put one here. You can put, you know, one here, one here. Put them wherever you want to. I am going to attempt to sort of center them. And since it's bright white paper, I can't really see the line, the fold line. So I'm just doing it up against it like this. And I just want to do one there and one there, about 1/4 of an inch in, and that way it won't wiggle so much, because if you go in further, if you want a lot of play in your pages and things, and you can certainly do it that way. Now I'm just using my original one as a template, and just sort of doing the handheld book cradle style. Now what I've done, and I had to do this off camera, sorry guys, but I really had to get my head in there. And you wouldn't have been able to see anything except the back of my hair anyway. But what I did was I took the first one and the last one, and right up against this top fold of the spine, I marked the 2 holes for the first file folder, and then flipped it around. Right up against the fold of the back of the spine, I marked the 2 holes for the last one. I have not marked the 2 middle section holes yet, because I'm going to actually stitch these ones in first, so that not only can I get my stacking on it where I want to, but this way is actually easier because it's not as confusing as to which hole goes to which thing. And it's a little easier to be able to have the space already taken up. So like this is going to go here, this will probably be there, this will be here, and then I know I have to put these holes right in there, basically, if that makes any sense, hopefully, to everyone. But you should be able to see it as I go along. And I'm gonna get my needles, and I have some purple linen thread here. It's semi-waxed, which means it's only partially waxed. I'm going to cut my thread because I don't want to use this whole bit at once. I don't want it to get very tangled. And all I'm going to do is, now, do I want my little knots on the outside? Yes, I think I do. So what I'm going to start with is bring my needle up from the outside, and of course you can always going to put a little clip on this so it will help it to stay closed. Now of course you could put your knot on the inside so that it's hidden, and then you would simply start from the inside of your file folder. I'm just going to do this. I think the ties on the outside will make a neat element, and I can put some beads on there. Now to choose, do I want it at the bottom, in the middle, or at the top? Because they're all going to hang down, so there's going to be one there. Or I can just, you know, switch it up. I'll just put them randomly and see how it goes from there. Just make sure you pull it tight so that your file folder is up against the spine, unless you want it loose to wiggle around. I'm just willy-nilly making my knot, and well, that's way loose. I did that wrong. Whoops. This is where the partially waxed thread really comes in handy, in case you need to undo your knot. Alright, let's do it this way then. Left over right. Right over left. And we pull it tight, hopefully. Much better. Okay. We'll just let that hang. And now to do the end one. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same things for these guys, only in this tiny space in between here. So hopefully I can make it fit. I could get away with just doing 2 of them, but I really like them all 4 of them together. So I'm actually going to keep these in here and poke through. It helps to keep them straight and to ensure that the spacing is where I want them. There. Now we will just stitch them in like the other ones. There, now we've got some pretty long tails, but I'm going to leave them that way because I want to put a few beads on here. Maybe do a braided thing. I'm not sure. Anyway, so there's that. Pocket. Oops. I keep hitting my camera stand. Pocket there. Okay, now for these guys. These are actually, they're not going to be open like this. You could leave them open like this if you wanted the extra journaling space. But I like them as the file folders that she made them as. So I'm going to find, there's these guys. These are actually going to have the tabs on them, so you can pull them in and out. But I think these ones I will leave to where you can open and close them, and I'm just going to put the tab on the front page so that when you put it in there you can see the pretty tab part, because we can put some pockets in here. You can put some, just use it for journaling space, photos, whatever you want. But right now we're going to glue the 4 file folders on the top and the bottom. I forgot to set my glue bottle up in my glue holder. I love this thing. It is so handy. I got that from Hayden's Handles on Etsy. They're also on Instagram, so check them out. They have all different kinds. Okay, now what I'm going to do, and as you saw there, I forgot on the first 2 that I wanted to put some type of book page or something at the opening, because I didn't want the white. So I did it the easy way on the last 2, but the first 2 I just kind of popped it open and stuck them in there. So luckily it worked out well still. So what you'll do is just find your file to put in your folder, and hoping I glued this one too close. Okay, maybe not. Had a little extra glue right there. Oops, okay, let's see. I thought I made enough space. I did not. My glue is at the end and it's kind of warm in here, so it's rather thick and stringy. So to remedy that, we'll just chop it down a tiny bit. Let me find my guillotine. Let's see if I make them off exactly 4 1/4. Is that enough off? Not quite. See, I put too much glue on the bottom. So we'll just chop a little bit off of each side. I'll make them about 4 inches, so I like that design part there, so I'll just cut a little there and a little there. It also could have been the my printer. Okay, so we'll check 4 inches. Woohoo! Alright. Just a little bit of recalculating. Get it up a little bit. Okay, and I will do the same on the others so that they all match.